When I arrived at our family home for Christmas, my brother yanked me back onto the porch. His grip was tight, almost painful, and his eyes darted toward the glowing windows. "Don't go in," he hissed. "Whatever you hear, just stay calm. Do exactly as I say." Behind him, laughter spilled through the glass, warm and familiar, but his tension made my stomach knot. Something inside was wrong. I glanced through the frosted panes. Mom was smiling, holding a tray of cookies. Dad's booming voice echoed through the hallway, and cousins I hadn't seen in years were clustered together, chatting. It looked perfect. Too perfect. My brother's hand tightened, and I realized he wasn't overreacting. He was terrified. "Why?" I whispered. "What's happening?" He shook his head. "I can't explain. Not here. You'll see soon enough. Just follow my lead. Pretend everything's normal." His voice trembled slightly, betraying fear he was trying to hide. I nodded, though unease gnawed at me. Every instinct screamed to turn around and run, but curiosity pinned me in place. We stepped onto the porch, pretending casual cheer. As we entered, smiles and hugs greeted us. I forced a smile, trying to mimic joy. Everyone asked about my trip, the weather, the road, their voices bright and warm. But in the back of my mind, I kept glancing at my brother. His eyes never left me, and each look was a silent warning. Something's about to explode. I followed him through the living room. A small incident caught my attention. A glass slipped from Mom's hand, clattering to the floor. She laughed it off quickly, but her eyes flicked to Dad, a warning hidden in that brief glance. My pulse quickened. The house wasn't just hiding secrets, it was a powder keg, and I had just stepped onto the fuse. By the fireplace, a framed family photo caught my eye. The smiles looked wrong somehow, too forced, the eyes too sharp. I turned to my brother. He muttered under his breath, "Watch for the signs. Don't get involved." Not yet. My stomach churned, the warmth of the room clashing violently with the dread pooling in my chest. That Christmas night wasn't going to be merry. It was going to reveal truths that could shatter everything I thought I knew about my family. The first subtle sign appeared as Dad called us all to the dining room. Everyone obeyed almost mechanically. Plates were set, candles lit, and I noticed the way Mom's hand trembled as she poured drinks. My brother nudged me under the table. "See her hand? Something's very wrong," he whispered. I swallowed hard, nodding, trying to mask my growing unease with polite conversation. Then I heard it, a muffled argument from the kitchen. The tone was low, urgent, almost panicked. I looked around. Everyone else laughed and chatted like nothing had happened. I shot a questioning glance at my brother. His jaw tightened. "That's what I mean," he said. "Something's happening, and no one's supposed to notice it. Yet." I realized then that my role wasn't just a visitor. I was a pawn, placed carefully into a game I didn't understand. Each laugh, each cheer, each forced smile was a layer of deception. I couldn't let my guard down for a second. One wrong move, and I could ruin whatever fragile plan my brother was desperately trying to keep intact. As dinner began, tension coiled around me like a live wire. Plates clinked, conversations overlapped, and laughter rang hollow. Every glance exchanged across the table carried unspoken meanings. I kept stealing furtive looks at my brother, who sat beside me, silent but watchful. When the first toast was made, Dad raised his glass and smiled, but his eyes didn't reach mine. They flicked to someone across the room, an expression sharp and calculating. The warmth of the holiday gathering was a mask. Beneath it, currents of anger, fear, and secrets flowed like hidden rivers, and I was trapped right in the middle. That night, I understood something crucial. This Christmas wouldn't end with cheerful carols or exchanged gifts. It would end with revelations that could destroy the image of the family I thought I knew. And my brother, he was the only one trying to protect me from stepping straight into chaos. I tried to follow the flow of the evening, pretending to laugh at jokes and comment politely on gifts. But my eyes kept drifting. Every movement, every whisper, every glance around the room felt loaded with hidden meaning. The warmth of the house was a fragile mask, barely concealing the tension simmering beneath the surface. At one point, I noticed Aunt Lorraine, normally the bubbly center of conversation, sitting rigid in her chair. Her smile was fixed, eyes darting nervously to the hallway. When she caught my gaze, she whispered, almost under her breath, "Careful. Just act normal." I blinked, startled. My brother leaned closer. "Exactly what I mean," he murmured. "It's all a performance. Don't slip up." The dinner progressed, but the undercurrent of unease tightened around me like a rope. Dad laughed loudly at a story from Uncle Frank, yet his hands clenched and unclenched around the rim of his glass. Mom's attempts at cheerfulness came in stilted bursts, her gaze constantly flicking toward the living room. Even the cousins, normally loud and carefree, seemed to tread lightly, as if the walls themselves could overhear them. I kept catching pieces of low murmurs behind closed doors. At one point, a shadow moved across the kitchen doorway, and I froze. It was a figure I didn't recognize, tall, wearing a dark coat. They paused, then slipped back into the shadows. I looked at my brother. His expression was grave, tight-lipped. "See that? That's not part of the celebration," he whispered. Hours passed, and the sense of calm was an illusion. Every laugh, every clink of cutlery, every cheerful word felt like a lie layered over something dangerous. I realized I was learning the rhythm of this hidden tension, where to watch, where to stay quiet, when to nod, and when to look away. As dessert was served, the moment came that made my stomach drop. Dad excused himself to the study, leaving Mom and the rest of us at the table. I noticed the way Mom's hands shook as she poured coffee, how her voice trembled slightly when she answered a question. The subtle signs my brother had warned me about were multiplying. Something big, something dangerous, was about to happen, and it was centered somewhere I couldn't yet see. Then came the first direct confrontation. Cousin Marcus leaned too close, his smile too wide, and whispered something that froze my blood. "You're not supposed to notice yet, but I can see you." I stammered a polite reply, trying to mask my shock. My brother's elbow jabbed me under the table. His eyes were sharp, almost deadly in their warning. "Act normal. Do not react," he mouthed silently. I understood then that I wasn't just an observer. I was being tested, measured, scrutinized by people I had known my entire life. Each word, each glance, each subtle gesture was a thread in a web of secrets, and stepping out of line could unravel it all. Later, as we moved to the living room for coffee, I noticed a small, folded piece of paper near the fireplace. My brother's hand shot out, gripping mine. "Do not touch that," he hissed. "Whatever is on that paper, it's dangerous. Just leave it alone." My heart pounded. What could be so dangerous that even a note would be a risk? I tried to follow his instructions, but curiosity gnawed at me. I glanced toward the paper as Mom turned her back. The ink on it glimmered faintly in the firelight, but I forced myself to look away. My brother's grip tightened, almost painfully, reminding me that he was not just protecting himself tonight. He was protecting me. Minutes later, I noticed Dad return from the study, but he wasn't alone. A figure lingered behind him, partially hidden by the doorway. The tension between them was electric, unspoken, but palpable. They spoke in low, clipped tones, and for a moment, the room seemed to freeze. My brother leaned in, whispering urgently, "That's it. That's the trigger. Watch closely." I realized then that whatever had been brewing in this house for years was finally coming to the surface. It wasn't just tension or family arguments. It was a confrontation that could change everything. A secret so explosive that a single misstep could destroy more than just the holiday. My pulse raced. I had no idea what the secret was, but I knew it would not stay hidden much longer. The rest of the night became a careful dance. I moved, I spoke, I laughed, all under the watchful eyes of my brother and the family. Every interaction carried hidden meaning, and I tried to memorize the smallest details. The way Dad's hand twitched when he spoke. The way Mom's lips pressed into a thin line when she thought no one was looking. The way the cousins shifted subtly whenever a word about the past was mentioned. By the end of the evening, the air felt thick, almost suffocating. The house seemed alive, as if it knew the truth was coming and was holding its breath with us. My brother and I exchanged one last look before heading to separate rooms for the night. His eyes were solemn, heavy with warnings. I understood without words. Tomorrow the secret would be revealed, and nothing would ever be the same. And for the first time, I truly feared stepping further into my own family's darkness. This Christmas night wasn't about joy, or laughter, or gifts. It was about survival, understanding, and bracing for truths I could no longer ignore. I woke before dawn, unable to sleep. The house was silent now, but the echoes of tension from the night before still clung to the walls. My brother appeared at the doorway, his expression tight and serious. "It's time," he whispered. "Everything you've seen. It's about to make sense." We moved carefully through the quiet house. The glow from the Christmas lights cast long shadows across the walls, twisting familiar objects into shapes that felt threatening. My heart pounded with anticipation, dread, and a hint of curiosity I could no longer suppress. We reached the study. Dad's door was closed, Dad's voice raised in muffled argument from within. My brother motioned for me to stay hidden. I pressed myself against the wall, straining to hear. "You shouldn't have involved her," Dad's voice snapped. "You left me no choice," another voice replied, sharp, unfamiliar. A shuffle of papers, then a low, furious curse. My brother grabbed my arm again, eyes wide. "Do not step inside, not yet. Watch." And then I saw it. The door cracked open slightly, and my eyes caught glimpses of documents, photographs, and letters spread across the desk. Names, numbers, and evidence of financial manipulation, betrayals, and secrets that would ruin reputations. Or worse. Dad was involved in something illegal, something hidden from the entire family. The unfamiliar voice belonged to a lawyer my brother had hired months ago, secretly investigating the truth. My mind reeled. Years of smiles, laughter, family dinners, all a facade. And my brother had been fighting in silence to protect me, to protect us from stepping into a disaster that could destroy our lives. Suddenly, Dad's gaze met mine through the cracked door. His expression faltered, eyes narrowing. Panic flashed across his face. I realized he knew I had seen something. My brother pressed my back against the wall. "Do not engage," he hissed. "Not yet." Then the confrontation escalated. Dad slammed a fist onto the desk, papers flying. "You think you can expose me?" he bellowed. The lawyer stayed calm, voice steady, each word striking like a hammer. "The evidence is irrefutable. It's only a matter of time." I watched, frozen, as the house seemed to vibrate with anger, fear, and betrayal. Mom appeared in the doorway, eyes wide, lips trembling. She tried to speak, but caught herself, the weight of years of secrets crashing down on her. My cousins lingered in the living room, drawn to the commotion, but frozen by the gravity of what was unfolding. Finally, my brother motioned for me to follow him to the hallway. "It's safe now," he whispered. "But you have to understand, this family will never be the same." We left the study, stepping lightly, carrying the burden of what we'd witnessed. I felt a mix of relief, fear, and awe. My brother had protected me from a storm that could have destroyed everything, and now the truth was out in the open. By the time breakfast arrived, the house was quiet again. The documents had been secured, and Dad had left to handle the legal fallout. Mom sat silently, her eyes red, the warmth of the holiday replaced by shame and fear. My brother and I exchanged a look that said more than words ever could. We had survived the night, but the family we knew was gone forever. Later that afternoon, as we stepped outside into the cold winter air, I finally breathed freely. The snow glittered in the sunlight, peaceful and innocent. Yet I knew that inside, the walls of the family house would never feel the same. Every laugh, every toast, every forced smile from before had been a lie. And the real story, one of betrayal, secrecy, and hidden danger, would haunt us all for years to come. As we walked away, my brother whispered one final warning, softer now, tinged with relief. "Next time, don't wait so long to listen." I nodded, shivering, but grateful. That Christmas had begun with a warning, unfolded in shadows, and ended with truth. The family house, once a symbol of warmth, had revealed its dark heart, and I had survived to see it.